Netflix movies are bad. That's the sentence people don't even realize they believe. They don't say it directly. They say things like, I'll wait till it's on Netflix, or it's not really a cinema film, or looks like a streaming movie. What they mean is, cinema is where real films live. Streaming is where content goes. But here's the problem. On March 6th, Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man releases in cinemas. On March 20th, it lands on Netflix. Same film, same director, same cinematography, same performances, two different reputations. So the question isn't, is this a cinema film or a Netflix film? The real question is, why do we think those are different things at all? Because the lie we tell ourselves about Netflix movies isn't really about quality. It's about how we experience time. Let's start with the argument that people instinctively feel is true. Cinema matters because it's shared. Lights go down, phones go away, everyone watches at the same moment. And actors themselves say this. Stellan Skarsgård put it bluntly.
In a cinema where the lights go down and eventually you share the pulse with some other people. That's magic. Cinema should be seen in cinemas.
And honestly, he's kind of right. A packed theatre is electric. You feel reactions ripple through a room. A laugh becomes contagious. Silence becomes pressure. Streaming doesn't do that. Streaming is individual. Different homes, different nights, different attention levels. And the cultural moment dissolves before it begins. So the fear isn't really about Netflix. The fear is when films stop being synchronized, they stop being cultural events. That's the emotional core of the debate, and it's a fair one, but it's incomplete.
And here's the thing with theatrical, which is why it's very hard. Like, you spend about the same amount that you spend on the movie to advertise the movie. So if you spend $25 million to make the movie, you $25 million to advertise the movie. So now you got $50 million into the movie, and from the movie theaters, you get back roughly 50%. So if a movie makes $100 million, you get back $50 million. So if you get back $50 million, that's you $25 million movie got to gross $100 million, just in simple math. And there is a tail, and there are secondary revenue streams, but that's one of the things that has made it really hard to get theatrical. That and the fact that people now go, this movie looks good, but I'll see it when it comes on streaming.
So yes, streaming substitutes cinema. That part is real. But here's the twist. That doesn't mean studios lose money. Studios nowadays don't maximize box office. They attempt to maximize total revenue, home entertainment revenue, licensing, and for streamers, subscriber income. A structural modeling paper on theatrical versus home video release timings found that shrinking the post-theatrical window can in some cases actually increase studio revenue while leaving theaters largely unaffected, if the timing preserves meaningful segmentation. Just like releasing Blu-rays and 4Ks an average of 2.3 weeks after theatrical exit has been shown to increase studio revenue by 4.47%, while again having minimal impact on theaters. So a film doesn't have to maximize theater attendance anymore. It has to maximize total value, which means many different things. Theaters sell tickets, streamers sell membership behavior, so retention, engagement, habit. Memberships reward frequency as much as or even more than any single box office run. And that's the entire tension behind the phrase content versus cinema. Which brings me to Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, a Netflix film with a 14-day theatrical window. Not day and date, not a traditional 90 or even 45 days, a deliberate compromise. What does that achieve? One, it gives a cinema opening weekend, reviews, headlines, prestige framing, and two, a global streaming launch before the conversation dies. Netflix has been testing this for years. The Irishman received a prestige theatrical run back in 2019. Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery got a limited one-week theatrical release in 2022. Its sequel, Wake Up Dead Man, got 2 weeks in cinemas back in November last year, just mere weeks after Frankenstein premiered in cinemas for a 3-week run, including in IMAX. Netflix is not abandoning cinema. They're reverse engineering what cinema provides best, a shared moment, all inside a platform designed for asynchronous viewing. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Theaters don't actually create culture. Simultaneous engagement does. And Netflix is trying to manufacture simultaneous engagement. Now we hit the accusation that Netflix films feel disposable. And to be fair, perception data suggests that it might be right. Business Insider, citing a Barclays analysis of IMDb audience ratings for a particular sample, reported that Netflix ranked lower on median scores compared to the top studios in that comparison. So the meme doesn't come from nowhere.
What the?
But look at the filmmakers. Martin Scorsese, David Fincher, Rian Johnson. These aren't creators abandoning cinema. They're creators adapting to financial reality. Netflix-backed films have repeatedly occupied major awards conversations too. In 2022, Netflix led every major studio with 27 Oscar nominations, which means the platform doesn't decide the quality. The incentives shape the output. And Netflix's industrial logic favors the scale of retention over the sale of an attraction. Why is that so bad? Well, one reason is Matt Damon, who said that streamers now often want dialogue to be repeating plot points multiple times because audiences might be on their phones. That sounds cynical until you look at attention research. Second screen viewing measurably reduces recall and comprehension, not slightly, significantly. Human attention fragments when multitasking. So if audiences divide attention, storytelling adapts. More repetition, earlier hooks, clearer stakes. The thing is, I'm not sure that's necessarily worse. That's adapting to the platform. Cinema trained viewers to be immersed in a dark room of imaginary dreamlike worlds. TV trained audiences to tune in for their favorite shows week after week. TikTok now trains content creators to grab attention within the first 3 seconds. And streaming trains stories to survive distraction. Writing for Netflix isn't poor writing, it's writing for a different cognitive environment. So the lie we tell ourselves about Netflix movies is really a fear we tell ourselves. A fear that we're losing cinema. We're not. The debate was never movies versus content, theaters versus Netflix, good versus bad. The point that matters is about time. Synchronized attention versus fragmented attention. Theaters create it naturally, at least more naturally. Streamers have to engineer it. A film isn't defined by where you watch it. It's now defined by whether it can command attention in any environment. This is a game for all players. If you believe cinema matters, you go opening weekend. If you believe convenience matters, you wait. And Netflix wins either way. Because the goal isn't a single revenue spike. It's sustained attention across multiple phases. Cinema buzz, online conversation, streaming surge. One film, 3 attention peaks, everybody wins. So no, Netflix isn't killing cinema, and cinema isn't fighting streaming. They're solving opposite problems. For cinema, how do we scale a shared moment? For streaming, how do we recreate one? And films like Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man are the answer. Not either or, but both. Because the future of cinema won't belong to theatres. And it won't belong to platforms either. It will belong to films that can survive the room and the algorithm. It will belong to the producers, Netflix, Warner's, both, that force us to explain what made cinema special in the first place.